shopping in the Eaton Centre? Why are you locked? Why are you closing your doors? Why are you locking your doors to the public?
In October, an American diplomat was stopped by East German guards as he was crossing to visit the theatre in East Berlin. The Americans decided to make an issue of it and assert their right to free movement in Berlin. Lucius Clay was back on the scene.
Clay's calculation was that the Soviets were responsible for East Berlin, not the East Germans, and he was determined that the Soviets would recognize their responsibility there.
Why? Tell us the reason. Why? Why? Tell us the reason. Tell us the reason why. Why are you putting people through this?
He once told me, he said, I learned early in the game of dealing with the Russians, if the Russians understand one thing, and that's force, that's strength. You must never negotiate or deal with the Russians without having a position of strength.
To underline his point, Clay moved tanks up to the checkpoint.
Why? Why are you putting us through this?
The Russians brought up their tanks and guns. The two sides faced each other barrel to barrel.
Who gave you the right?
The telephone rang in the command post. He said, let me speak to General Clay. I said, he's not here. Who is this? He said, this is the military police officer at Checkpoint Charlie. He said, holy Christ, he said, the Russians have rolled in here in force. He said, they've got tanks. He said, the balloon's getting ready to go up. He said, the defecation is about to hit the fan.
It's just funny. Let the police cut off my balls. I don't mind because it's the cops and they're always right. Right?
The situation was dangerous. The tanks stood facing each other. Our tank crews were told to exercise restraint, to give no grounds for provocation.
The dead seriousness of it became more intense with each hour. The Western forces went on alert, Strategic Air Command went on alert, NATO went on alert, troops were being cranked up around the world, and one never knew if the intensity of the situation in Berlin escalated, where would be the next sore point.
We are the Toronto public. We want to shop. We want to get into the Eaton Centre. It is a public place. It says it's open till 7 o'clock. Why are you closed? Why? Why?
President Kennedy had sent a message to Khrushchev through a new private channel that had been established only a month earlier for a back channel between the White House and Khrushchev, and that President Kennedy had asked Khrushchev to take the first move.
The Americans sent a message. It said, in order for us to move our tanks without losing face, you should move your tanks back to a certain distance. Our tanks stood 200 meters from the Americans.
The lead Soviet tank cranked up his engine and backed up some 5 or 10 meters, and we received instructions to have the American tanks to withdraw exactly the same distance.
It wasn't a good enough reason to start a war. Khrushchev himself said, we're not unleashing a third world war because of Berlin. The Americans realized that too.
The soldiers pulled back, but the wall remained. The East Germans built it higher and backed it with fences, tripwires, and tank traps. During the first year, 50 Germans died trying to cross to the west.
You want to go shopping? You don't give a shit, do you?
Not really.
Not really. Then why don't you go fuck off with your camera and stop I'm saying I'm not giving you permission to film me. All right?
You're in a
you don't
public
have
place.
permission. Huh?
But you're in a public
No,
place.
no, it's closed. It's
No,
closed.
this is actually a privately held
Oh, really?
company.
You're going to explain it to me? Well, tell me why they're closed.
I don't know. Cadillac Fairview doesn't want you in.
Oh, Cadillac Fairview doesn't want me in? That's why they closed the whole place?
Well, apparently.
Are you nuts?
General Secretary Gorbachev, if you seek peace, if you seek prosperity for the Soviet Union and Eastern Europe, if you seek liberalization, come here to this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, open this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
This is the middle of the checkpoint. The gates have been opened. The police are making no attempt to stop people as they go through and come back. I have never seen such elation.
I watched the scenes on television last night and again this morning. You see the joy on people's faces and you see what freedom means to them. It makes you realize that you can't stifle or suppress people's desire for liberty.